the law of attraction, which I got to tell you guys something. If you've been listening to my show for a while, and I've been doing this since the end of July, everything I talk about is the law of attraction. I may or may not have said that when I was talking to you. I may or may not have actually told you, hey, do this and it makes you better at the law of attraction. But everything that I have talked about, everything that I have told you are things that will help you, number one, be happier in your life. 2, be more empowered in your life. 3, a lot of other things. And 4, be better at the law of attraction. Because when everything that I've taught you is to use your thoughts, be aware of what you're thinking, reframe, listen to your inner guidance, follow your path, listen to your intuition that's there for you, open your mind and be open to new opportunities. Haven't I taught you all of those things already? All of those things are part of the law of attraction. The biggest question that I get on how to use the law of attraction is basically, okay, how? How do I use it? Because I can give you all of the basics, and then you go, okay, well, how do I do it? And so I tell you how to do it, and then you go, okay, well, that's really good information, but how do I do it? And I found myself having that conversation a couple times, and I recognized that something happened when it used to be when I was very, very new at learning this stuff. Maybe when I was where you guys are. And I would ask someone, and they would just give this flippant answer, like it was the easiest thing ever. Like, well, what are you worried about? It's no big deal. And that was so frustrating to me because I'm like, you're acting like this is no big deal, but do you understand that to me, this is a really, really, really big deal? I've now had the opportunity to be on the opposite side of that. And what that means is I've had someone ask me a question that to them is a really, really, really big deal. And to me, I'm like, well, it's so easy. It's just a piece of cake. It's just like this. What's the big deal? So when I caught myself doing that, when I caught myself giving out that kind of answer, like it was no big deal, when to the person I was talking to, it really was a big deal. I caught myself and realized that that's where I used to be. And it used to irritate the crap out of me when people would answer me like my big deal was no big deal. Because what's a big deal to you is a big deal to you, even if it's not a big deal to the person who's answering your question. The law of attraction, I feel like I'm talking about it like it's no big deal because it's the easiest thing ever. The truth is, it's so easy. You don't believe how easy it is. And I understand because I was there. And I still have my moments of resistance and frustration when it comes to it. Don't get me wrong, because I'm still a pretty normal person. And I have the same types of frustrations that you do. Maybe more or less, and maybe at different times in my life, I had more of those frustrations. And I'm hoping, my plan is that I'm getting this to make my life simpler. It's all about making your life simpler, right? Don't you want to use the law of attraction so that you can have more things in your life that make you feel good? And when you feel good, you're happier. And isn't it just simple to be happy? Because my friends, that's how you do it all. You just be happy. The happier you can be for as long as you can be, as much as you can be, that's how you do the law of attraction. That's how you get it to work. I understand that it feels more complicated than that. And you feel like maybe you're doing that and it's not working. So we're still going to talk more about how to get past those blocks. And I feel like I could talk about that. I could do a different show every week on a different block that you might be having and how to get over it. The truth is, I have other things I want to talk about besides the law of attraction. So we'll see where we get when it comes to that. Right now, what I want to tell you is if you feel like you're not getting it, if you feel like you've got it a little bit, but it's not really sinking in the way that you want it to, don't give up. Keep studying, because I've been there. And you're going to get to the point where I got when I was looking at all this information about the law of attraction. I was studying different people. I was looking at different videos. I was reading different books. And I realized everybody that talks about the law of attraction says the exact same things because the law of attraction doesn't change. It is what it is. There's thousands of books about the law of attraction, and each of them is just a different voice explaining to you from that perspective ways that you can make it work. It comes down to the most simplest thing ever of just being happy, wanting stuff, and believing it's going to come to you. And that sounds so simple that it's hard to believe that it's really that easy. The trick is in the believing that it's going to come to you. That's really where we get held up. That's where our blocks are. And if you're finding yourself stuck on that idea or a certain manifestation, maybe some things you're manifesting fantastically and other things you're not manifesting as well, and you want to do better with those things, you have to be able to remove your blocks in those things, because if you're manifesting in one area and not another, then that means that you are clear and have no resistance in the areas where you're manifesting, and you have resistance in the areas where you're manifesting. And to reduce your resistance, there's a lot of different ways to do that. And every book that you read will give you different advice and guidelines on how to reduce that resistance. We are going to talk more about that, and I've given you little bits. Every single show that we've had, today, last week, the week before, 6 months ago, I was already talking about the things to do to truly take in the law of attraction, to make it yours, to own it, and to learn how to intentionally use it and not just have it running on default in your life, which it's doing if you're not actually paying attention to it. So we'll talk a lot more about those blocks. And even when we're off of our law of attraction shows and we're just talking about the regular stuff that Della talks about, everything that I talk about is still going to be teaching you to use the law of attraction better, because every single thing that I talk about on this show is to help you become empowered in your life, gain more freedom, gain more of your dreams, have and do the things that you want. And even if I don't say law of attraction, the things that I'm teaching you are things that will help you understand and use and implement successfully the law of attraction. But if you're feeling stuck, it's okay, because I was there, and everybody who's ever used the law of attraction and tried to understand it has gotten stuck. And actually, when you get stuck, I know you don't think that it's fun, but when you're stuck using the law of attraction is when it's telling you, hey, you have an issue here you need to resolve. And so that issue is what's causing resistance, right? And maybe that issue is something that you need to work through and process, or it might just be something that you need to not think about. It could be as easy as, okay, just don't think about that anymore. Not everything is that easy, but some things are. And you will, as you continue to go and as you continue to learn, you'll learn more and more techniques and more tricks for getting past that resistance, and more ideas for how to have more faith and how to have stronger believing. And while you're learning, don't put pressure on yourself that you have to have this today. One of the biggest processes of the law of attraction is learning to believe. That really is what's hard for us humans. Learning to believe, because in order to believe, we must change our entire paradigm. And our paradigm is our system of beliefs. It's our network of beliefs. You have a belief about one thing and a belief about another thing, and those two beliefs are connected and related. And if you stop believing one, then it's going to cause a problem with what you believe about the other one. So you either have to figure that out or adjust your belief in that. But the way that you become truly, truly successful at breaking through your resistance and being successful with the law of attraction is by slowly learning how to raise your vibration and having your vibration rise. You remember we talked about setting your scale of your own personal vibration, right? Because you've got your -10 to 0 to +10 scale. And at any moment, you can ask yourself, where am I feeling on this scale? Am I neutral? Am I at 0? Totally fine. Am I having fear, which is probably like a -8 or 9? Am I having abundant joy, which is a +8 to 10? Anytime, any moment, wherever you are, feel where your vibration is. Just in your mood, are you happy? If you're just a little bit happy, you might be a +1 or 2. Be aware of that. Here's a trick to the law of attraction. Be as happy as you can, as often as you can, as much as you can, for as long as you can. If you can bring your vibration on that scale from wherever it was up, you're doing better. So your mood today might be, okay, I'm happy, so I'm like a +6. It's great. And that's wonderful until you realize that you haven't gotten paid and you're running low on money. So you start thinking about money and all of a sudden your vibration goes right down to -5. So when you realize, and guys, that's awesome. When you have that resistance, when you realize, ooh, I'm having resistance. I'm on the left side of the chart. I don't want to be over here. That's amazing because now you know. And before we talked about this, you didn't even know. It didn't occur to you perhaps to be aware of where your vibration is. Can you chart it? And it may not be exactly on a number, but it's going to range up and down all day long. And when you think about certain things like money or relationships or stuff that you really, really want, those things that are really, really important to you, that's when you're going to notice your vibration really going more wildly up or down. And the more down it is, again, it's not a bad thing. If you notice that you're -9, that does not mean you're a bad person. That does not mean you're failing, not even a little bit. What it means is now you know, so you can get it to -8, and then maybe -7, and then maybe -6, because you can only start from where you're at. You can't start anywhere else. When you feel resistance, become aware of what your vibration is. What are you feeling? Okay, you asked for this thing and it's not manifesting, so there must be some resistance there. Think about that thing. What comes up? What feelings do you have as you feel that? Is it a feeling of contentment and joy? Because then you're probably on the far right side of the scale, and that's where you want to be. So let's say that you're thinking about a relationship. Let's say you're really, really looking for your soulmate and you feel like you're ready for them and you wish that they were ready for you and you wish you could just find them. When you think about that, and I'm using this as an example for any area that you have a vibration on, whether it's relationships or money or just being happy or anything. Say you're feeling kind of lonely. If you weren't feeling lonely, maybe you wouldn't be looking for a soulmate, right? Except that maybe it would just be nice to have somebody to be with and share your life with, and you don't have to be lonely in order to desire company, right? So if you recognize that you're asking for a soulmate, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, spouse, partner, something, and it's not coming, then you recognize, good news, that's a clue for you because now you know you have resistance in this area. You may not have realized that before. So now you have to look at what your resistance is and figure out, when you think about that scale, where you're at. Are you on the left side? And what's it going to take to get your vibration to the right side? And that's where you might be confused. Okay, Della, all right, I'm a -5. How the heck do I get from a -5 feeling lonely to get to a +5 not feeling lonely when there's nobody here with me and I'm still alone? That's a really good question. That is your challenge, okay? So there's different hacks you can do. One of my favorites is the gratitude hack, which is, let's say you're thinking about being alone. So you get that sad, lonely feeling and you're on the left side of the scale. You recognize it. Good job. That's the first trick. You recognized it. Congratulations. You are aware of your vibration. You are halfway there, kid. Next, realize you got to get your vibration up higher. And if you think about having someone to be with and a partner to share your life with, maybe that just pulls you further left and you just makes you sadder. That's not the direction you want to go. So instead, think of whatever you can to be grateful for. And it's best if you can be grateful in the area that you're trying to attract or manifest. So, but you don't have to. You can go to something else to be grateful for if you just can't find anything. So if you are thinking about having someone with you and it's making you sad, stop. Congratulate yourself for recognizing it, because good job. And then immediately think of anything in your relationships that you can be grateful for. Think of the friends that you have. Think of, if you don't have any friends, think of a smile that somebody gave you. Think of the way that the barista at Starbucks was polite when they took your money. Think of the interactions that you're having with people that are positive interactions. You have to be having some positive interactions in your life. And if you're not having any positive interactions in your life, that's not about the people around you, my friend. That's about you. So have some positive interactions in your life. Focus on those things. When you're feeling sad and lonely, think about those things. Think about the people that love you. Think about anything that you can, relationship-wise, that can bring you a happy feeling. Anything that can change that vibration from a -5 to the positive side of the scale. Anything that makes you feel good. Even if you're thinking about your last relationship and just remember, hey, remember when we used to be together and we used to laugh and that was fun? Now, don't let yourself get all sad on that relationship isn't there anymore. You got to avoid that. As much as you can, do not think about the things that are making you sad. As much as you can, do not think about the things that give you a low vibration. Anytime you notice your vibration is low, boost it. Jump it to the right. Think about whatever it takes to be happy. And here's a hack, and this is really special. Be as happy as you can for 17 seconds, because that's how long it takes to kind of wash out the negative vibration and bring in a great vibration so you can have that really positive vibration to sit with. And I shared this before, and my friend Melissa shared that video and was chatting with her friends about it, and she came up with the most amazing thing that I absolutely love, which was over 17 seconds. If you're going to be happy for 17 seconds, that means 4 positive thoughts. So if you can just stop thinking about whatever it is that's making you unhappy and think about something that makes you happy for 17 seconds, which is 4 positive thoughts. That's all you got to do. And then move on and don't think about that negative thing again until it pops up in your mind, and then immediately be happy for 17 seconds. Even better, if you can be happy 17 times 4, which is 68. If you can be happy for 68 seconds, and that means have 16 happy thoughts, that will take you way further and not only take you higher on the vibration scale, but drop a little anchor for you there. That's where you want to be anchored, right? Is in that positive side. One of the things that I love so much about Melissa's understanding that it takes 4 positive thoughts is because when I did foster care, we were trained in the teaching family model. We went through annual certifications and all kinds of stuff. We were really serious about working with these kids. We were very well trained in working with these kids. And one part of the teaching family model is that as the teaching parents, the foster parents, we had a goal, an absolute goal with every single kid to have 4 positive interactions for every 1 negative interaction. Which means if we go to a kid and we say, hey, you didn't clean your room, you're going to have a consequence for that. Now it's my job as the teaching parent to find 4 things that I can praise this kid for. Do you understand? But it worked. And it's actually not as hard as you think, guys. Because the minute I look at this kid and I say, hey, you didn't clean your room yet, if he's looking at me and he listens to me say that and he doesn't scream or yell or run off, he immediately gets praise. You know what? You just looked at me while I told you that your room wasn't clean, and you know that you have a consequence, and you were able to stand still and be calm. You earn a positive reward, right? So there's 1 praise already, and the kid hasn't even cleaned his room yet. So it's not that hard to find the positive stuff. When you have the negative, overrun it, wash it out with at least 4 positive. 17 seconds, 68 seconds, whatever works for you. Minimum 17 seconds, minimum 4 happy thoughts. And thank you to Melissa for figuring that out, because as soon as I saw it, I went, of course, why didn't I put that together already? But she did, and I'm thrilled that she did, because it made so much sense and made a connection for me when she did. If you cannot find 4 things about that same area to be grateful for, then think about 4 things in another area. If you're so alone and there's nothing in your relationships that you can grab onto to be grateful for and happy about, then think of something else that makes you happy. This is a trick. This is kind of a hack. Find the vibration first, then find the thought, and tell the thought that it matches that vibration. As humans, we are very, very reactionary, right? So a thing happens and we have an emotional response to it. To be a master manifester, you must have control over that emotional response. And it doesn't mean that you can't ever feel bad, but it means that when you do feel bad, you look at it, you recognize it for what it is, and you make an active decision for something better, right? And that doesn't mean that bad things can't happen, because bad things, when I say bad things, I have to be really careful, because a thing that you perceive as bad may not be bad to someone else. It's only perceived as bad by you. So when something happens that you don't want to have happen, let's say it that way, you can recognize that you did something one way or another to attract that, and maybe you can learn from that. But also, that's when we experience contrast. That's what Abraham and Esther Hicks calls it. When things happen that we perceive as bad, that tells us, hey, I really wish that things were better. And that shows us what we want instead. In everything, every time, every situation where you find yourself lacking, you find yourself not having something that you want, that creates want. That creates that desire. That creates the ask that you're automatically sending to the universe. Hey, universe, this is what I want. Even if you didn't say that, even if you didn't actively intend that. And that's where we got to be careful, because that's when the negative stuff can come back. My friend Tara, for example, hates sloths. You know, the sloths that most of us think are cute, she does not. She doesn't like them at all. She thinks they're creepy. She thinks they're weird. I don't know if you guys have this thing on your phones. You probably do. That if I talk about something, I pretty soon see an ad for it on Facebook. They say my phone's not listening, but after I talk about something, an ad for it shows up on Facebook. So somebody's listening to me somewhere. And that could be a Facebook algorithm and a microphone secretly on my phone, or it could just be the law of attraction bringing these things to me. But here's the thing. Tara doesn't like sloths. She doesn't like them at all. And guess what shows up on her Facebook feed all the time? Sloths. Because it's not about what you want. It's about what you focus on. It's what you pay attention to. Your attention is the currency of the universe. When you are paying attention, you are literally handing over currency for what it is that you want. When you are paying attention to anything, you are using your vibrational and universal currency to get more of that thing. And my friend Tara doesn't like sloths, and she puts out a lot of emotional currency on how much she doesn't like sloths, and then sloths end up in her vision everywhere. So I'm telling you that story to make the point. It's not about what you want or what you love. It's about what you focus on. It's about what you pay attention to. Your attention is the currency of the universe. And the more you pay attention to things, the more you will buy those things from the universe. And that means the more attention you pay to being unhappy, the more unhappy you're going to get. That's literally what you're buying. So some of the things I'm saying are things that you've heard before. If you still haven't figured it out, if you still don't have that Mercedes in your driveway, it's okay. Don't be hard on yourself. Recognize that this law of the universe is so simple that it takes a while to learn how to do. It's so simple that people don't believe how simple it is, and it takes more time and effort to learn it. That's okay. I started learning about the law of attraction. I first heard the name of the law of attraction a little over 8 years ago. I didn't have my Mercedes 3 months later. I did use it, and I got a cool job and a great house to live in, literally 3 months later. But I've been spending the last 8 years learning more, figuring out more, manifesting more stuff, and then having other things that I wanted to manifest that didn't, and learning from those things. So guys, don't give up. If you're feeling like it's too big, it's actually not. It's too small. That's the problem, and you're making it bigger than it needs to be, and that's why it's not working. Don't give up. Keep trying. Keep learning. Keep asking. And I promise the more you ask, the more you're going to get. And my time is up. I want you to know I love you. I want you to be happy. And as always, I'm not trying to tell you what to think. I'm trying to get you to think for yourself.
You've been listening to The Extraordinary Talk Show with Della Hill. Search YouTube and Facebook, Spotify, or Podbean for video and podcasts of this show, or go to radiostgeorge.com. We'll see you next week for another edition of The Extraordinary Talk Show.
KDXI.